Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. And here at Ustream and this little tiny bit on YouTube, don't forget, for anyone who signs up to Ustream, the first 25 in the next week, the first 25, well, they'll probably be done in a day, but the first 25 to sign up after seeing this gets a copy of a very, very old CD of mine called Watching Over You, where I have a go at stretching the old clacker-lacker and sing a few little old funny songs and whatever. It's quite good. It was produced by Greg Lake, so you can get one in the post. And you catch me the morning after the quiz night in the local pub. I love it. And so what I managed to do last night was to get all the blokes up and do a dad dancing competition. Now, the best record for a dad dancing is I'm in the middle of a chain reaction by Diana Ross. And so all the blokes got up doing dad dancing, and some idiot filmed it and put it on TikTok. Jim Davidson at the local pub. It looks like I was dancing for real. I mean, what a tit. Great quiz night. I love some of the questions, How long is a hair on a rabbit's back? And the answer is about 2.5 seconds. And who said, what the fuck was that? Yes, the mayor of Hiroshima. Now, I know it's awful that we can do jokes about nuclear warfare, but there are worse things in life, and that is Keir Starmer. I'll be talking about him in a second, don't you worry about that. But nuclear warfare, I believe you have to do jokes about nuclear warfare because it stops you going mad. So I reckon there was an old joke, wasn't there? If there was a war, if there was people bombing us, I'd stand next to Jess Conrad because he ain't had a hit in 60 years. No, I think if there's threat of nuclear war turns up, I'm going to move to Slough because the Russian reconnaissance satellite will believe that some fuckers already nuked the place and it's been inhabited by aliens. Well, moving on. We'll also be talking about Kanye West's girlfriends, Jack and Danny. And also be talking about yet another murder in this country. And of course, the police haven't told us anything or given us a description of the perpetrator. There is a perpetrator that has been apprehended. There is a case about to go on, so I won't gob off too much about it. But we hope it's not a terrorist attack. And but we know better, don't we, children? And the only strange thing is, by not telling us who they have in custody, it tells us everything, doesn't it? Why don't they tell us who they have in custody? Maybe a little picture of the perpetrator when they were at school. Quite different to what the perpetrator looks like today, isn't it, boys and girls? Anyway, so there's too much of it going on. I worked out a way to make a few quid. Don't get married again. No, I'd like to go on that Dragon's Den, all those silly people that are there and that woman. Yeah, and tell these rich idiots who sit there with their money all stacked up. That is so naff, isn't it? I'm going to invent something that I believe everyone in this country will want, and that is fashion. Of course, it is fashion, but this item is what everyone will want, and it is a stab vest. You can have them to go with the bag, can't you? Here's my stab vest, here it is, Union Jack, like no dad waistcoats at Virgo used to wear. Right, so let's get to the main comical event today. Yes, you've guessed it, it's the Prime Minister. Do you know, I'm sure our Prime Minister keeps that idiot Lammy and no-brainer Rayner on the front bench because it makes him look a little better, makes him look a little less twattish. I don't think he's a stupid man. I just think he's not very good at what he does, and he's a Marxist. The man is a Marxist. This is the man that said, when I'm Prime Minister, I'm going home at 4 o'clock so I can see my family. It's also the man at Christmas that during lockdown, he was visited by his voice coach. Good friends, they tell me. Anyway, okay, dear old two-tier Keir, you've got yourself right in the shit, haven't you? While telling the country we should be all locked down for longer, this is what he said, we should all have been locked down for longer, and demanding Boris Johnson resigns for having a piece of cake brought to him while he was working on his birthday. It turns out that Mr. Slippery, hypocritical, lying bugger, associated his, this is it, voice coach as a key worker. He allocated voice coach as a key worker and met with her in person on Christmas Eve. What the fuck is that about? How How is a voice coach a key worker? Remember, this is at a time the country was in tier 4 lockdown and people couldn't see their dying relatives, or indeed they couldn't see anyone. Yet Keir Starmer allowed his voice coach to travel 50 miles for a meeting at Labour HQ. The Labour HQ sounds nothing like him, does it? Well, there's nothing dodgy about that, is there? And number 10 are refusing to answer questions because it relates to the time before he was Prime Minister. Do you remember that? The good old days before he was Prime Minister. So the leader of the opposition was exempt from the rules we all had to follow as a country. So, you know, the rules being, which he wanted to elongate them, make them longer and harder, that he demanded Tory politicians resign if they broke those rules, but he was doing what the fuck he liked all along. Okay, so answer the question, Prime Minister, and then do the right thing and bugger off. On another note, I have another note, and this is the one that we'll end with before I go over to really start having a little pop on Ustream. If this is what the Prime Minister sounds like Dow, after a fucking voice coach, you know, I'd ask for my money back, wouldn't you? Did you see that film, The King's Do you know the joke? I'll leave you with this one, and then we'll go over and talk about some awful bloody stuff that's going on. A man went to the doctor. He said, "I have a terrible stutter." He said, "Take your clothes off. Let's have a look at you." So he stripped off. He said, "My God, that's the biggest penis I've ever seen on a human male." He said, "It's a beauty, isn't it?" He said, "Well, that's your problem. That huge penis is pulling your clacker-lacker out of shape." Me clack, clack, clack. The thing that hangs down and separates the meat from the gravy. You've got to have it off. What, me clack, clack, clacker-lacker? No, you've got to have that huge penis removed and a small, manageable penis put on in its place. Can that be done? Oh, yes, we can do wonders. Wonders nowadays. 6 months later, the man's back in the doctor's surgery. "Doctor, you've saved my life. Who'd have thought it was the clacker-lacker that was causing the problem and the huge penis pulling the clacker-lacker out of shape that's causing me to stutter?" Fantastic. What a doctor you are. There's one problem. The wife is not too thrilled with the small, manageable penis and asks if the process can be reversed. And the doctor said, no, a deal is is a deal. Okay, come now, go and join Ustream. Do they get a free deal? Now they get a free trial? No? Well, you're fucked then. All right, see you later. See you on Ustream, ustream.com. Join actress Debbie Arnold and my future ex-wife, Natasha, as they sit down with some inspiring guests in our brand new weekly series, Girl Talk.
Do you know who has got a copy of this book?
Who?
Tom Cruise.
Has he?
Oh yeah, I met him at an air show. He looked at the book and I said, "Oh, you're my hero." And he said, "Mandy, I'm just an actor. You guys are the real heroes."
Oh.
Boom.
But you're a very imposing and good-looking man. So how did someone as lovely as you
I think I need to look at this.
get into the reform party?
Yes, don't miss Girl Talk, episode 1, streaming now, exclusively on Ustream.